Welcome, everyone, to the Township Council meeting, Monday, February 27th, 2023. This meeting is now called to order. Ms. Navarro, would you please come forward and lead us, this governing body, in the flag salute? All rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Mrs. Kraus, please read the statement.
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8 and NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. Notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on December 27, 2022. Copy of the notice was mailed to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the township clerk on said date. A link and a telephone number to join the meeting virtually can be accessed on the township website at www.lfnj.com. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. At this time, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Patel. Councilmember Murphy.
Present.
Councilmember Hablitz.
Present.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Present.
Council President Scoba.
Present. At this time, Mayor Damiano, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. This evening, we have a couple of long overdue teams that we need to recognize here in Little Falls. Three teams that have won some tremendous league champions here in Little Falls. And what I'm going to do this evening is I am going to ask each of the three coaches to join me up here. And then I'm going to ask them to invite each of the players on their teams, as well as the assistant coaches, to join me up here to receive a medal and to take a photo as a group up here. And then I'm going to ask the coaches to take a couple extra medals for any of the players that might not be here this evening with us, so that the players that are not here can take them and get them at some point after. And we're going to do a little team chant at the end with each team. I hope each team has a team cheer prepared, because there needs to be a little noise here in this council chambers. So if you haven't prepared one, each team better come up with one very quickly this evening. All right. So everyone's going to be put on the spot very quickly. So the first team that I'm going to ask to have come up here this evening is going to be the team that was coached by Coach Rich Appalachio. So I'm going to ask him to join me up here this evening. And this is the third and fourth grade boys baseball team. And I'm asking you to call each of the players up here, as well as the assistant coaches.
Just real quick. I don't think I need that.
Just so everyone at home can hear.
Trust me. Oh, at home? Okay. I just wanted to thank everybody associated with my team, from coaches, my father, Bob Appalachio, and also my main assistant, Jeff Bromley. For real quick, the 6 of my 13 were the lucky 13 that cannot be here today. Ryan Callahan, LJ Consolo, Jordan Gonzalez, Alex Itzareri, Jordan Gonzalez, and Chase Santiago. With that said, real quick, we finished 10-1-1. The team that we tied, we beat in the championship. The team that beat us, we beat in the playoffs. So we can honestly say we beat every single team throughout the season. So the team effort, well accomplished. So now when I call your names, if you could please come up. There'll be an alphabetical order, so there's no favoritism when you hear the first name. Reed Appalachio. Carter Bromley. Anthony Garcia, AKA Tony. Zach DeLeo. Damon McGlynn. Dominic Mesha. And my leadoff hitter, Issa Sharif. Congratulations, boys. Well deserved. And I hope you learned what team values are And the reason why we have these sport leagues in our local town is for one reason and one reason only, for the kids. Congratulations. I normally go in the front, but I might be taller than this. Yeah. Here we go. And the pressure's on. Good, okay.
Here we go, little team cheer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, the second team that we're going to recognize this evening is our fifth and sixth grade boys recreation baseball team that was coached by Coach Doug Reck this year. And we're going to ask that you call up all of the boys that won this year, as well as the assistant coaches. And you guys better also have a little team cheer at the end.
I'm not responsible for whatever the team cheer is. I just want to make sure that that's well said, but just first and foremost, all my assistant coaches that we coach multiple sports all together. So Coach Style, Coach Castalda, Coach Testa, Coach Canfora, thank you guys all for hanging out with us this season and having a good time. 12-0 undefeated. I don't think there was a game that they were even close in. So great job, boys. All right. A lot of hard work. Two boys that are not with us tonight, Henry Saddleberger and Gene Pozo. We want to give a shout out to those boys. They were big contributors. Oh, sorry. And Tyler Dammers. All right. Don't worry. He will not be forgotten. And then we'll start with the back row. So we'll bring up Luca first. So Luca, would you like to come up? Luca Castaldo. All right. All right, we are definitely going in order from favorite to not favorite. So we will go with Christian Cruz next. No. Dante Style. All right. Ali Omaran. Bruno Testa. Xavier Callis no, I said it wrong. Salas Castaneda. I was so close. I know, and I even practiced. Better known as the professor. All right. We also have Archie Canfora. Archie, come on up. I don't know which one to bring up next, but we'll go with Henry Facade. Go with Mr. Cavuto. Devin, thank you. And then I guess last but not least, Mason Resch. Absolutely. Yeah, they're all coming up. Here you go. I got it.
Double D, double D.
All right. And while I'm sure everybody was impressed by the first two cheers this evening, I'm pretty certain the last cheer of this evening is going to be the loudest. And that is going to come from our third and fourth grade girls recreation basketball team who brought home a championship this year. Coached by Coach Dan Finlay, and I'm going to ask him to join us up here and introduce his team.
Audrina Manzanares. Kayla Finley. Camilla Pachaka. Kiara Krietzman. Gianna Carroll. No? Mia Navarro? We don't have Naya Bardaji and Peyton Culver. Caitlin's on the other team, Mia. She's on this year's team. I got it. We also, well, first and foremost, I couldn't have done it without my assistant, Ron. Come on. Kiara's dad. We've been together since the girls have been in kindergarten, and we've always had successful seasons, always. We also went 9-1-1. The one team we lost to, we beat in the playoffs, and the one team we tied, we beat them in the championship. And that's all. The coaches, we just help you girls play like a team. All the recognition goes to you girls. You work hard. Okay?
All right, now it's time for the final team cheer of the night.
Hornets on three. 1, 2, 3.
All right, congratulations to all of our championship teams this past year. Now, while all of you are certainly welcome to stay for the entirety of all of the upcoming exciting meeting, I know there's some weather outside. It is a perfect time if anybody does not want to stay for the rest of the meeting to leave, but you are certainly welcome to stay if you would like. So up to all of you, but thank you all for coming if you're going to be leaving. And congratulations to everyone on the incredible seasons that you all had.
Awesome. Awesome. It's amazing. All these kids want to leave. I mean, are there no young Mike Murphys out there who are like, yes, I'd like to stay and learn about civics?
Not
No young Chris Van Cherries out there?
a report.
I would say any young Anthony Scott.
Yes.
You know, there's no young Anthony.
Well, me, I was on like the Bad News Bears team.
They were always old. I was looking at some meetings.
Is the mic on? Thank you, Mayor. We'll move on. If there's no objections, I'd like to move the minutes of January 23rd and February 13th in one motion. Have a motion to approve both minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Hablitz, second by Councilman Vanchery. Mrs. Kraus, please call the roll for the January 23rd and February 13th minutes.
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes. Mayor, the floor is yours. And if you, I guess if you would, in your comments, talk about the snow that may be coming our way and the preparations for the township. And also, if you'd like to discuss the resolutions, but I am tabling Resolution B at this time. That will not be voted on this evening.
Absolutely, Council President. So a couple things to report on this evening. First, I'll start with the snow update, at least the latest information that I have from the weather updates that I received. It does appear that we are looking somewhere in the range of 2 to 5 inches. It's a fairly wide range there right now. It looks like it'll be a wet snow. And it looks like the targeted area for us is somewhere in the mid-4 range here in this particular area. It does look like, again, it'll be a mixture of somewhat of a rain and snow mix throughout the evening, kind of changing over the course of the evening here. There is a cancellation of both the Little Falls schools as well as Passaic Valley High School for tomorrow, the 28th of February. So no school tomorrow, snow day for everyone, including adults. So we are in conversation with the DPW earlier today. We were talking about whether the DPW should be out brining roads or not. And part of the conversation and concern was that we may be expecting a wetter snow or rain actually earlier on in the snowfall today because the temperature wasn't as cold as we were initially anticipating. And what happens is if we brine roads and it rains before the snow begins, it ends up being an absolute waste of the brine because it completely washes away and ends up being a waste of brine and the money that is spent on the brine. So a lot of local roadways were not brined earlier today, but there was a lot of salt on, as you may have seen, a lot of the more heavily utilized roadways and county roadways because the county has recently salted. So there was a lot of salt throughout our more heavily traveled roadways. So that should assist us, at least in the initial start of the snowfall, which I believe did just start within the past little while here, at least the initial snowflakes coming down. We, again, will see it start sticking over the course of the night. And as the snow begins to stick in the early part of the evening, plows will be out. I'm reminding residents, as we have through our email blasts and through social media forms, that vehicles do need to be removed from roadways once snow plowing operations begin. Vehicles, and again, while our police department does attempt to notify residents to remove their vehicles before ticketing and towing, vehicles will be ticketed and towed if they are left on the roadways because we do need to get them cleared to make sure that they are safe so that we can get them completely cleared and cleaned. So please remove your vehicles from the roadways. If you do need to park your vehicles somewhere and you don't have enough room on driveways or off the roads around your homes, you are permitted to use the Mars Canal parking lot here in town. We ask that you park them along the guardrail when you first pull in, if possible. I know there's some construction equipment there and things of the sort, so please park them further up along the guardrails there and keep them out of the way as much as possible, but use that lot for now so that you can get them off of the roadways. So use that lot as an alternate means if you do not have room at your houses or apartments, wherever you're living here in Little Falls. So that's the snowfall update. Moving on from the snow. Tomorrow evening, I will be hosting a town hall regarding the PNC parking lot, the former PNC parking lot that is now a municipal parking lot here in town. It's scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. We'll be hosting that at the Civic Center. There is a Zoom link, the regular Township Zoom link. If you're on this Zoom, it's the same Zoom link that will be live. I do not anticipate that there will be a two-way conversation over the Zoom link, meaning you'll be able to see what's happening there. You'll be able to hear what's happening there, but I will not be able to hear what you're saying or communicate with you and understand what you are trying to say. There will not be comments that are monitored. So feel free to view and monitor the town hall that's happening. But if you do have concerns or comments, please get them to me in advance. I'll try to address them to my email address, as I indicated in the townwide blast that has previously gone out. Send them to my email. I will try to get them addressed. Otherwise, please, feel free to join me there, and I'm happy to address it. There will be a number of things, particularly just related to this parking lot improvement project that we are trying to schedule and move along with, that will be addressed. Next, it's my intention, as I've previously mentioned, I do want to continue to schedule regular town halls moving forward. The next ones that I want to schedule in the upcoming months will be about whether or not we move forward with parking meters in our downtown, or we change our timed parking in our downtown, and how we go about assisting our Little Falls businesses and our Little Falls residents in parking in our downtown area. One of the big concerns that I frequently hear from residents is that I can't find parking spaces downtown. And one of the concerns I hear from business owners is that they see the same cars parked in spaces for extended periods of time and not moving. And in speaking to, of course, our police department, one of the issues that they have is that, of course, enforcing downtown parking and 3-hour parking is not the main priority if there are other calls in town that they need to respond to, understandably. And it becomes onerous for them to enforce. So there are a lot of other ways that we can enforce downtown parking, and a lot of other technologies that may assist us in doing so. And it may be a better option for us moving forward. So there's a lot of conversations that I want to have with business owners and with residents on what we can do to come to a common solution with everybody to resolve the number of parking spaces that are open, the turnover of spaces for the businesses, but do it in a way where we're not necessarily charging residents, where we're not necessarily allowing people to park for 8 hours in the parking spaces on Main Street. And another town hall that I want to have has to do with the potential restructure of our master plan here in town, having to do with the development, the amount of height requirements, the density requirements, and everything that goes into a master plan. And the amount of public involvement that will go into that will be quite a bit. And having discussions with residents about that moving forward is something that I want to have. And town halls will be one way to do that. So I want to schedule some town halls about that moving forward as well. Another update, we've added a blinking stop sign at the intersection of Ridge Road and Long Hill, at the intersection where surprisingly, there's not a lot of traffic accidents, but there are a lot of hold your breath moments if you are a frequent flyer in that intersection. And it has, in my opinion, and from several text messages that I have already received, had an instant impact in that intersection. And I believe that it is already been a successful way to notify drivers that there's a stop sign there. And it's been quite effective. And it is something, traffic safety has been something that, has been a priority for myself and Councilman Vanchery as the, individual oversees our traffic committee. And this blinking stop sign has been very effective there. So again, things like this, simple things that are very cost effective, are things that we will continue to try to do throughout town. And if you have issues such as this, feel free to reach out. And this was brought to our attention by a resident. Again, not something that we, didn't notice ourselves, but it is certainly something that we can continue to do throughout town in intersections where appropriate. As far as the upcoming resolutions this evening that are before the council, provide some brief information to this council as well as the public. Resolution A is a resolution issuing a tax refund due to a disabled veteran exemption. This is a standard resolution for exactly as it sounds, for a disabled veteran who receives an exemption and who is entitled to a tax refund on his property or her property. And it is in the amount of $2,184.64. And that is a fairly straightforward resolution where that refund will be issued. Resolution B as Council President indicated, he will be asking for that to be held until a future council meeting. Resolution C is a grant application to the Passaic County CDBG program for improvements to Cherry Street and Mozart Ave. This is a resolution that I am absolutely thrilled is on this evening's agenda. This is a $100,000 road improvement to Cherry Street and Mozart Avenue, or I should say $100,000 grant that we will be receiving to make an improvement to Mozart Ave and Cherry Street, much like we have to prior streets in town, like Micklejohn, last year, where we were able to do a complete streets improvement, where we had Belgian blocks and we repaved the street with a $100,000 grant from Passaic County. And it is a beautification to our roadways, and this year's application was made to improve these two streets, which are in dire need of repair. And we were awarded a $100,000 grant from Passaic County to apply towards Cherry Street and Mozart Avenue. And once we get that to design with an engineer, we can get that construction project underway. And adding Belgian block and repaving the roadways is always a great beautification for a roadway in town. So I'm happy that the cost associated with that will be offset with a $100,000 grant from Passaic County. Resolution D is a fair housing resolution that is being passed. It's actually passed annually, but we're asking that the council pass this evening as well. And what it does, and it is fairly straightforward, is it is a resolution that essentially asks that, or it does not allow for discrimination against anyone who is seeking to be housed in the township of Little Falls, regardless of their race, color, religion, ancestry, sex, national origin, nationality, familial status, marital or domestic partnership status, or any other sort of reason why somebody would ever be discriminated against. And it is, again, something that is passed annually here in Little Falls. And we ask that the council ensure that anybody who wants to live here in this town do so without being discriminated against. And Resolution E is a resolution awarding a 5-year contract to F. Basso Jr., our garbage disposal company here in town. And for anyone that does not know or is not aware, Basso is our current garbage contractor here in town. They have been now for a number of years, and they are receiving this as a result of a fair bidding process, meaning they submitted a bid and they were the low bidder on this. They did this again in a fair and open way in competition with a number of other bidders. Again, being our current garbage contractor, I will say in all fairness, not only were they the low bidder, but I received nothing but typical compliments from them. Now, sure, occasionally there's a small problem that I hear from anyone who has a contract here in town. But overall, I hear nothing but the employees of this contractor are polite to our residents here in town and things of the sort. And they are up for, and it was a tremendously lower bid than any of the other individuals who submitted for this bid. And we are asking that a new 5-year contract be awarded to them as the low bidder for a future garbage collection award. And F is simply the bill list, which is on at every single meeting. Council President, I believe that addresses all of the resolutions that you've asked me to address this evening, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that the council may have.
Does the council have any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Chief Pearl, would you like to have anything for this governing body this evening? Councilwoman Havelitz?
Thank you, Council President. So I'd like to start with some library updates. First, I'd like to thank the library just for all of the great programming they are putting on recently over the years. They're just tremendous for our town. I'd like to thank the Clifton Board of Health and the county clerk for their events at the library this past Tuesday. The health department had information on all they currently have to offer our township, as well as the clerk's office was providing passport renewals, notary services, and veteran ID cards. And when I attended, both groups were very busy. So thank you to both of those groups for attending at the library. This Saturday, the library will be hosting at 1 p.m. They'll be celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday and Read Across America with a magic show, and all ages are welcome. And they will also have on March 11th, a rain barrel presentation, which will be hosted by Green Mojo. We'll be discussing the benefits of rain barrels. Check the library website or their social media. They always have more events that you can register for, just see what's going on. Of course, the Friends of the Library will host a membership open house on March 21st at 7 p.m. Come and find out about the Friends of the Library, and there will be light refreshments served. We are once again going to have our Earth Day shred event on Saturday, April 22nd from 9 to 1 here at the Town Hall parking lot. It's a great day to get rid of any of your documents that you'd like to shred, and there will be a recycling of old electronics as well. The event is free for all Little Falls residents, and it's been very successful the past few years that we've been doing it. So you can come down to the library for Earth Day. Something new we will be hosting this year. We'll be hosting our first annual bike rodeo on Saturday, May 6th with the rain date of May 13th. It will be an interactive bike rodeo around town promoting bike safety. This will be another event that will be adding to our mayor's wellness campaign along with our 5K run, which happens every October. And then lastly, I just in advance would like to thank the police department and the DPW for preparing us for tonight's upcoming storm. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Havelitz. Councilman Vanchery.
Thanks, Council President. I will echo what Councilwoman Havelitz has said. Last Thursday, I had a chance to stop by the library with the clerk. County clerk, I'm sorry, Danielle Imhoff Ireland was there along with the Clifton Board of Health, and there was a great crowd of residents, throughout the session that was there. So it's always nice to see when the services are being offered, the residents do come out and support that. Want to say congrats to the 3 youth sports teams that were here this evening. Really appreciate. You guys hear me? Some issues? Okay. All right. Okay, making sure. I just want to say congratulations to the 3 youth sports teams that were here tonight. It was always nice to see the kids here. You see the smiles on their faces when they get to come up here and be recognized in front of their family and friends and to get the medal from the mayor. So appreciate that. A couple things that I just wanted to mention too is I set a date for the Autism Awareness Month flag raising. And since April 1st is on Saturday, we're looking to have the flag raising on Saturday, April 1st at 10 a.m. Knock it out early in the morning to start the day. I know there's some softball stuff in the morning, but we'll get that done. And I'm working on having a guest speaker from one of the autism organizations as well. The flyer will go out this week. I'll also make sure it goes out to the schools as well to notify all the parents that have children with autism so they can join us as they've done over the previous years. I also want to mention too, with the impending storm, everybody be safe and obviously follow all the rules and restrictions that have been laid out by the mayor as well as the police department. So if you need a place to park, make sure you utilize the lots that we have. And, again, in advance, thanking the police department and DPW, because it's going to be interesting next 24 hours, I'm sure. But as usual, when it comes to snowstorms, the DPW is on things and our roads look spotless. So I always appreciate all the work that they do there. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Vanchery. Councilman Murphy.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few things. First thing, I know some towns do town calendars, and somebody was able to give me this particular one happens to be from Woodland Park, and I was able to read through it, and I really think this is an awesome idea. So I'm not sure if this is something that we've ever looked into, and this is something I'll pass around to my colleagues up here so they can take a look at it and to the mayor. But for those that are on Zoom or in the audience, it's not just a regular calendar. They have all the town meetings in there, council, Board of Ed, events for the library. They have garbage pickup, recycling. I mean, they go in detail through every month with events on this. They also have every department, how to contact them, who to contact, their contact info. They even go into town maps, voter registrations, absentee ballots. So I think this is something that is a tremendous resource to our residents. I think it will give every resident and business the opportunity to see what events we have coming up and what they could be at, and also give them some resources. So I don't know if it's something that we've ever looked into or if we can.
Councilman Murphy, I suggest that yourself and Councilwoman Havelitz and myself and our new assistant BA, Vincent Cardrone, get together, sit down, find out some more information and try to move this forward.
Awesome. Thank you. Second thing real quick, I got a call from some residents along the Peckman They had brought up the dredging that was done with the excavator in the past. They were asking if we had any plans to do it this year. Apparently this was extremely helpful years prior, and as we come into April and May, they had asked if that's something that we plan on doing or if we can schedule to plan on doing. So just want to ask about that as well.
So Mayor, we do have that apparatus, the Traco. I know we've had some issues with training with that particular apparatus in the past. But the question on the floor is, are we going to see that machinery back into the Peckman?
Yeah, we can certainly get it back in the Peckman. The biggest issue that we really have with it is getting it transported to and from the Peckman, because we need heavy equipment to get it transported to and from. And we rely upon either the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission to do it, and when we coordinate with them, or the good graces of oftentimes Salamone, who will offer to assist us in getting it back and forth. But we need to coordinate with one of those two who sometimes assist us getting it back and forth. So we can get it there. There have certainly been some new shoals created recently as after some of the more recent storms that we've had. So getting those cleaned up could certainly be something that we can look into.
Awesome.
Also, I think, Mayor, Mr. Kuchar, wasn't there a plan to possibly take down some trees that were frailing or dead? Is that not on the table?
There was a discussion with one of the engineers to do that. I think we had to get into a DEP question, which we haven't gotten a response yet.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Murphy, anything else?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council President. Lastly, I just want to give a shout out and a thank you to Tyler Persero over at the Little Falls Rec Center. The Domestic Violence Committee, Prevention Committee has really been working hard to have more of a presence and spread a little more awareness in the community. And one of the ways we've been doing this is through events. And Tyler's been instrumental in getting us involved in some of the events that are happening over there. He's also helping with, we'll be putting a banner up, and he helped us put that together. So I just want to thank him and recognize him for his efforts in that. Lastly, we do have our second meeting of the year coming up next Tuesday, the 7th. So if anybody is interested in attending that meeting, just wants to learn a little bit about it or check it out, feel free to shoot me an email. You should, even if you just want to come to the meeting, not to join the committee, just to learn a little more about us, feel free to reach out. Other than that, that's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Murphy. So this past Valentine's Day, we had a great dessert and dancing program with the Senior Advisory Group. Thank you to Councilwoman Ablitz, Councilwoman Patel, Councilman Murphy, and Councilman Vanchery for showing up and helping. Thank you to Chief Pearl and his officers came by, which is always good. The seniors do like to see the law enforcement head come in and make his presence known. Many thanks to Mr. Pace and Nadine, to Donna and Tanya, who are my committee people who helped decorate and help and get the invitation out. To Diana Bear, who brought in the Zumba ladies. The Zumba ladies were quite a big hit. Didn't know they were so popular. They could quite do the Zumba, I guess it's called. Right?
They were moving.
They were moving. Right?
They were moving.
Yeah, right. They actually were called back to do a couple extra numbers. Actually, they wanted to come back and do, Mayor, our St. Patty's Day on the 17th, but we do have some very talented young women who will be doing some Irish dancing that day. So they're going to have to wait to come back. So we do have the Irish Day coming up on the 17th from 12 to 3. There'll be corned beef and cabbage, no beer. The mayor doesn't allow beer at the Civic Center. So we'll have Irish dancing and a DJ, and it'll be a great time. We already have 70 people coming. So those that do want to come, please get your name on the list. We'll move on to Councilor Wenzel. Do you have anything for this governing body?
Nothing other than I'm looking forward to the Irish Day.
Good. Look forward to seeing you there. Have a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor of opening the item to the meeting to public for agenda items, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, do so by saying nay. Motion carries. Mrs. Kraus.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the council president will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you. The floor is now open. Mr. Kusia, is there anyone in the chat room that'd like to join us? And there's not. Is there anyone in the council chambers that'd like to come before us? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public comment?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Hablitz,
Second.
second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed do so by saying nay. Motion carries. For the consent agenda, resolution B has been tabled. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery,
Second.
second by Councilmember Murphy. This is a roll call. Mrs. Kraus, please call the roll for the consent agenda.
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes, we'll move on to ordinance. Mrs. Kraus, please read the ordinance 1448, please.
Second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1448, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 7 on street regulations of the Code of the Township of Little Falls.
Thank you. The floor is now open to hear 1448. If anyone wishes to speak on this, please come forward. Mr. Kusia, anyone in the chat? Seeing no one come forward, we are going to close the public session to 1448. Have a motion to approve, to adopt ordinance 1448.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilwoman Hablitz. This is a roll call to approve 1448. Mrs. Kraus?
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes. Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public for general matters?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Councilmember Vanchery, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor of opening for general matters, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, do so by saying nay. Motion carries. Mrs. Kraus.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President.
Thank you.
Members,
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. The floor is now open for general matters. Mr. Kusia, is anyone in the chat for general matters?
Mr. Baggett?
Nope.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Baggett, the floor is yours. You have to state your name again, sir.
Andrew Baggett, BAGGOT,
Thank you.
78 Franklin Road, Denville. My Little Falls interest is 105 and 107 Main Street, next to Valley Bank Project, and the empty lots where the gas station used to be.
Thank you. Good evening. The floor is yours, sir.
Yep, good, thanks so much. Just want to go back and touch on the mayor's parking plan from June 10th, 2019. It starts at about the 27-minute mark. Congratulations on getting the PNC lot. Part of that plan is to move the bus stop from the corner of Stanley, where the school, and Stevens into that parking lot. When is that going to happen, Mr. Mayor?
So that is no longer part of the current plan. The parking lot itself and the design of it doesn't necessarily permit good circulation for that. In New Jersey Transit, in our meetings with them as part of our Transit Village application, which was rejected by them, doesn't involve that anymore. And that was part of the rejection of the New Jersey of the Transit Village designation by them.
How about the talks to acquire Mr. Sestone's property? That's the lot behind the Taco Affair and the Antique Center, in between that and the PNC Bank. How's the talk going for that?
Sure.
That was part of your plan.
Sure. So I've had conversations with him, and he does not have interest in the township acquiring his lot, although I have continued conversations with him about having some sort of easement across a portion of his lot to have access along the side of his building. He is still considering that.
Part of your plan that evening was angle parking on Main Street in front of the Antique Center and Taco Affair. How's that going?
I don't recall that
Hold on.
as being part of the plan.
How about the municipal lot where Mr. Vetteri's doing the renovation work there with the grant money? What's the plans for that?
Mr. Baggett, what do you mean the municipal lot, sir? What,
The former municipal lot.
okay. You mean, okay, currently where the Historical Society is, has,
Yeah,
is
yes.
representing the old police station, okay.
Yes.
But there's going to be certainly there's going to be a parking lot there when that building is, eventually renovated.
Because that 3.5 years ago, that was part of your plan, counting up the 317 spaces. Recently, on December 6th of last year, Mr. Vettery had a very nice presentation. At the end of that presentation was a question and answer period, and it came up, what are the plans for the municipal lot parking, for that lot? Do you recall, Council President Scoba, what your answer was?
No, Mr. Baggett, I don't recall my answer, I'm sorry.
It was, we don't have a plan for that lot. Let me move on. Last spring, Mr. Vettery has proposed and was approved for his buildings on Patterson Avenue, both sides of the street there. I think it's 220 apartments and retail space, and changing Patterson Avenue into a one-way street. How are the plans going for that?
Mayor, would you want an answer?
Sure, it was certainly not 220 apartments. It was nowhere near 220 apartments. I believe it was, in fact, I don't recall off the top of my head, it might have been closer to. I actually don't recall the number off the top of my head there, but it was certainly nowhere near 220 apartments. It might have been closer to 60 apartments, 64 apartments. The plan for that is still moving and is in part of the engineering for Patterson Ave, and whether or not it becomes a one-way or stays a two-way. And the engineering is being discussed with the county for that, and the safety features of that are being discussed with the county as to whether or not there is going to be a stoplight necessary or additional stop signs needed as part of that. And as I recall, it might be 60 units in the building that would be on what is the east side of Patterson Ave, if I recall correctly. So certainly not 220 units. So that is in what I would call the final stages of being resolved with the county engineers. That is out of Little Falls's hands currently, and has been approved on the Little Falls Planning Board side of things. So I guess that answers that question. And I'm happy to answer other questions, but.
Let me just touch on that brief. So if it stays as a two-way street, some of the parking that he had hoped for is going to be eliminated, right?
Right, there were conversations, at least here in Little Falls, about how many spaces it would be if it was a one-way versus how many spaces it would be if it was a two-way.
Also, part of Mr. Vettery's project is to use town property to create additional parking. Isn't that correct?
Incorrect.
Part of his project is to take town property to create additional parking.
Yes,
with
that's-
entrance.
That's correct, but he's not receiving credit for any of those spaces as part of his parking calculation for his project. The township was just requiring as part of his project that he do so.
What part of his project is that? Is that the first thing to be done?
I don't know what part of it, the project that is. That would be
Well,
part of.
how are we gonna assure that it gets done?
Because it's part of the resolution that was passed by the planning board. And council may be able
Council,
to
you-
assist. in answering.
Councilor Wenzel would like to interject here.
So just very quickly here. Any project goes through various steps. The first step is through the local land use board. In this case, in Little Falls, it's the planning board. It gets an approval before the planning board. That approval is then memorialized in the form of a resolution. Then afterwards is a procedure known as resolution compliance, where the municipal professionals, the engineers, the planners, then review the progress of the development thereafter. Also, what's done after that point is the negotiation of what's known as a developer's agreement. Developer's agreement is a legal document which is much more comprehensive than the resolution, which sets forth various obligations for any developer to achieve during the time frame of development, meaning things like putting in curbing, putting in lighting, control of the site, making sure there's no erosion onto the streets, and other obligations that the developer has agreed to. For example, placing parking, the development of the site for residential units, development of the site for commercial units, and so on and so forth. As far as we are at this point, we are in the process of finalizing a developer's agreement for this site, which sets forth all of these obligations, including the obligations relative to parking.
Other questions, Mr. Baggett?
Yeah, just one or two more. Thank you for your time. Just a little bit more. Thank you for being so thorough and giving me the extra time. Last spring, Mr. Mayor, I saw you and Mr. Cuccio with Mr. Silverstein downtown in front of the Canal Street parking, if you recall. And you told me it was I asked if I could get in on the conversation. You told me no, it was about electrical issues. You recall?
Yeah, but I don't recall being with a Mr. Silverstein.
Okay, well, whoever you were with there, I pointed you to the wires next to my building and Mr. Vetteri's property that are 8 feet off the ground, going on 2.5 years. And I asked if you could address that and take care of that. Nothing has been done. When I see kids walking home from school, wanting to hit it with an umbrella, riding on their bikes, trying to reach up and grab it, hit it with a baseball bat, are we waiting for an accident to happen before something is done?
Okay, so I was with representatives from PSE and G that day. And you're referring to the low voltage wires such as Cablevision or Verizon wires that are there.
Okay, but they're 8 feet off the ground. It is a hazard and somebody's going to get hurt. It's been 2.5 years since anything has been done, and you walk around blindly because it's Mr. Vetteri.
No, those are wires that are installed either by Cablevision or Verizon.
Well, they need to be taken care of. They're 8 feet off the ground. It's an eyesore and it's a hazard.
Okay, it's Cablevision or Verizon that are responsible for those wires. I can certainly try to reach out to them and ask them to address it. But it's one of those two companies that are responsible for them.
Well, it's an eyesore in our town and it needs to be addressed and taken care of. It's been a long time. And I pay taxes over
Mr.
there.
Baggett, you made
I
your
don't see
point on
anything
that.
being
And
done for me.
we'll look for, the mayor and the staff will look into it. Do you have other questions, sir?
I have two more questions. Regarding your streetscape. You had October 17th, the letter was.
By the way, the wires you're referring to are wires that go to your building.
Well, I don't care. I didn't knock them down. When Mr. Vetteri took the building down, they need to be fixed. I didn't take them down.
Then, Mr. Baggett, you need to contact Verizon or.
I don't need to contact, you need to contact them. You need to contact them. Let's move on. We can move on. You could contact them for me and get the job done. Or
Mr.
call
Baggett,
Mr. Vetteri.
do you have other
He's
questions?
listening, so he can, John, you can take care of it, please. Could you tell me where I can get a diagram of your streetscape from your October 19th meeting? Because that was a hand delivered on the 17th and nobody brought one to my house. And I didn't know about it, and I would like to know where I can get a measurements and to see what is going to go on with your streetscape project.
Sure.
Where
you
can I get the numbers and the measurements?
I'm sure they're available for review at Town Hall. If they're not, we're going to make them available, but the easiest way to get them would be to send an Oprah request and we'll send you a copy of them.
Very good. I'm just about done. One more question. Recently, you had a resolution to settle up with Jack Sweezy, former chief, and Stephen May. What dollar amounts were those for?
Counselor, can you answer that question?
So off top of my head, you gotta give me a second here, maybe I can find it. I believe it was for Jack Sweezy, I believe it was $10,000 and for Stephen May, I believe it was approximately $775,000.
$775,000?
Yes, did you hear me correctly the first time?
I'm 10,000 and 775,000?
Perhaps you didn't hear me the first
That's
time.
correct, Mr. Baggett. The
That's correct.
counselor answered your question, so that's the number.
So, and that's taxpayer money?
No, not entirely.
Well, not into, how much is taxpayer money?
Anytime a case is settled in this township has the benefit of being a member of what's known as, I'm sorry, Council
Go ahead.
President, may I?
Continue. Go ahead.
Council, the township has the benefit of being a member of what's known as a joint insurance fund. Purpose of the joint insurance fund is all the towns get together, municipalities get together in there to share their exposure. And when that happens, the joint insurance fund covers the cost partially or wholly in some cases of the expenses of that litigation. In this case, and normally, by the way, the JIF normally does not exceed a share of 50% on any settlements. They normally share 50% or less. In this case, knowing how well the Township of Little Falls responded in these situations, they decided to actually increase their share to, I believe, at least 60, if not 65%, at least 60% of the settlement, which is a very, in my 20 plus years of handling matters of municipal litigation, is unusual. And it demonstrates to me, as the attorney for this town, but also as any attorney from the outside would see, that this municipality did everything possible to protect the township and its citizens from this lawsuit the best way it could, and reached a resolution in the interest of resolving the matter.
So it's over 300, it's over 50%, it's over 375,000 of taxpayer money for just Steve May?
Approximately of the settlement, I believe it was either 40 or 35% was shared by the Township of Little Falls.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Baggett. Is there anyone else in the chat that would like to join us? Seeing no one else in the chambers, can I have a motion to close the public comment? Moved by Councilman
Second.
Vanchery, second by Councilwoman Havelitz. All those in favor of closing the public comment, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, do so by saying nay. At this time, can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Vanchery. All those in favor of closing the meeting, do so by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, do so by saying nay. This meeting is now closed.